Okay, so last time we stopped at page 8, right? Just talked about the inverse, right? So basically there are 3 steps. First, you write it as y, f of x as y, if there's f of x. And then you gotta switch x and y, because the inverse will bring the output, take the output as input, right? Changing the roles of your x and y. So we switch x and y, but then we prefer to have y by itself. So that's why we isolate the y, right? So the moment that you switch the x and y, it's already called inverse, but it's not quite useful, right? So that's why we isolate it to make it easier to sub in input. And then once we got that, we can do the graphs. So when you have the graph, they have a connection between the inverse and the original. They always reflect over the line y equals x, okay, the diagonal line. Okay, just a quick recap. So today we're gonna finish this part and one more topic, and then the chapter is done, okay? And one more thing is the domain range. They also got swapped. Okay, f of x, f inverse of x, right? Domain range. Used to be domain, it becomes the range, right? Used to be range, becomes the domain. Okay, so basically those are the things that you need to remember. We'll go to question 10 now. So here we have another function that we want to get the inverse, right? Find the inverse of the function f of x equal negative x squared plus 4. Okay, what kind of function do we call this one? We should have a name, right, for this one. Jocelyn, what do we call this kind of function? The ones that have squares.
A square root function.
This one doesn't have square root, it's a square. In grade 11, you have a chapter on that.
A square function.
It starts with a Q. Do you remember? Something function. No? Oh, we have an answer here. Who is this? Oh, Kellen, right? Okay, quadratic function, that's correct, okay? So remember, this is called a quadratic function. We learned it in grade 11, so it's good chance to review, right? So for any quadratic function, we have a standard form, or maybe you learned it as a vertex form, okay? Can anybody help us review this part? Nick, do you remember the standard form or vertex form for quadratic function?
So like standard form, it's like on a graph, it's like there's like one on the origin and another on like another point.
Okay, I want the form of the function, the APQ. With the APQ, do you remember that?
Not really.
Okay, Daniel?
I think it's y equals a times x minus p and then plus q. I'm not sure though.
Oh, pretty close. Okay, was just missing little things. Anyone want to fill that in? What are we missing here? Yeah, Susan?
The square on top, on the outside of the bracket.
Very good, very good. Okay, remember this is quadratic function. We need to have a square, okay? You see, we work together, we get everything done, okay? Okay, so we have APQ form, right? So any quadratic function, you should be able to write it as APQ. We call that vertex form because it can help you graph easily, okay? So how do I write this as APQ? What's the APQ for this question? So take a look, right? So let's write it down here. F of x, x squared plus 4. How do I write it so then we can identify the APQ? So what do you think the APQs are? Philip? Huh? Did you say something?
I can't remember how to do this.
Okay, all right. Can how many of you have forgotten the quadratic function? Can you raise your hand? So almost half. I forgot how to change to APQ form. Okay, so how about Eric? Can you tell us how to get to APQ form? Eric? Yeah.
I might be wrong for this one, but is it just like the thing already, like negative, and you have the x inside plus 4, and then outside you have minus 4?
So how do I write it? Y equals to, what's the A?
-1,
Okay, and then?
and it's, I might be wrong, but I think it was x plus 4 and then minus 4/2.
Oh, okay, minus 4/2, like that.
I think so.
And then?
And then on the outside you have the plus minus or plus 4/2, I mean.
Like this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
Okay, all right. So since more than half of you have forgotten, I'm gonna review the step. Okay, it's gonna be very important for other question if you get a quadratic function. Okay, how to get the vertex. It'll be very useful. Okay. All right. So let's review that then. Right. So when the first step, when you get a quadratic function, okay. First, I need to identify the ABC, okay, the general form. This one is in general form. We'll rewrite it first. Okay, so y equals to -1x squared plus 0x, because there's no x term, okay? I'm just rewriting the question, plus 4, okay? When you write it like this is called general. Okay, so this is the A. The B, the coefficient, okay? And this one is the C, right? So step 1 is you factor the A out of the first two terms. Okay, take the A out. You ignore the 4, okay, for now. The 4 just goes at the end, at the final step, okay? So first you take it out, -1, like factoring, okay? So x squared and then 0 divided by -1 is still 0. So that's gonna stay the same, okay? So this is first step, you factor out. I should put the first step here because we need to write a step all in one line. So step 1 is to take that out, okay? Step 2 is to take the middle number. In this case, it's 0, okay? So 0, you take that number, divide by 2. So like kind of like what Eric did, right? Take 0, divide by 2, and then add it at the end. So 0 divided by 2, and then square that. Okay, so, and the reason why we do that, we learned it in grade 11. Okay, so I'm not going to detail, I'll just show you what step to do. Okay, so this is your step 2, to add something extra. Okay, step 3 is you need to balance the something that you added extra. The step 2, you need to balance it back because you added a 0/2 squared. So you need to subtract it back on the outside. So subtract over 2 squared. Okay, however, the thing that's extra is affected by the -1 times the outside, because you see the -1 here, it can also affect the third term, right? Affect the thing that you multiply extra. So when you subtract, you also need to subtract the extra part times by -1, okay, to balance out. Okay. And then finally, you just, so this part's your step 3. Okay, this part is your step 3. And then you add a 4, right? Remember, we ignored the 4 in the beginning, right? You add a 4 at the front. Okay, we'll stop here first. Okay, does anyone have questions so far? Can you raise your hand if you get understand the steps so far? Okay, step 1, 2, 3. This is just a very quick review. Okay, what to do to come? We call this complete the square. Okay, to change it to vertex form. Angela, Claire, Jenny, Marcus, do you have questions about the 3 steps?
No.
Okay, and then please raise your hand. Okay, so I would like you to go on a piece of scrap paper and try another one. Okay, just do up to the 3 step, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's say I want you to try. I'll make up something. Okay, so y equals to -2 x squared plus 6x minus 7. Okay, so I would like you to do the 3 steps that we just went over for that question, all right, on the top right corner. So once you finish that 3 steps, you can raise your hand and we'll check your answers, okay? Step 1, you ignore the last term and factor the a. Okay, step 2 is you need to add in the middle coefficient, divide by 2 and square. Okay, and then step 3 is you need to balance it back. Okay, you need to subtract on the outside. And then the last term, don't forget to put it back. Okay, the term that you ignore at the beginning, okay, put it at the end. Put it at the end. Okay, once you finish the 3 steps, you can raise your hand. Please raise your hand if you finished. Okay, Evan, do you have any questions? Jocelyn and Marcus? Okay, Evan, can you tell us how to do step 1?
Step 1, don't you just factor out the 2 first?
-2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me what's left?
X squared and then minus 4x.
Minus what?
3x.
3x. Yeah, okay, because your factor means you divide by the number you take out, okay? And Jocelyn, what is step 2 then?
I'm not done.
Okay, but can you tell me what to do with step 2?
I'm not done that part.
It's okay, but we'll do it together, right? So what are we supposed to do for step 2?
Change to your general form.
No, like over here, do you see 1, 2, 3? Right, step 1 is to take out the A, right? The first number. What do we do to get step 2?
Put it back in.
You need to take the middle number, divide by 2. Okay, can you repeat that? Middle number, divide by 2.
Divide by 2.
Yeah, okay, so look at the question. Which number is the middle number?
-3.
Yeah, very good.
Negative.
Just
Yeah.
-3, okay? So -3 divided by 2, what's that? What's -3 divided by 2?
-1.5.
Very
Like
good.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 or 1.5, right? So you will add -3 divided by 2, which is -1.5, and then square. And because of the square, the negative doesn't matter. You don't need to keep the negative there, right? Square will get rid of the negative sign. So you can just put 1.5 squared. So you always add, okay? And ignore the negative sign. Okay, so that's your step 2. You take the middle number, divide by 2, square, and ignore the negative. Okay, and Marcus, what's the last step? Step 3?
Balance it out.
Yeah, how do we do the balance out?
It would be -2 on the outside.
Yeah,
Um,
what else?
And then wouldn't it be -3x? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, sorry, you got cut off. Can you repeat that one more time?
So it'd be -2 on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not sure if is it -3x?
Okay. No. Okay. Let me go back to the example, right? You see the green and the red,
Yeah.
right? They are next to each other. The red is from the outside, the negative one you took out in step 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the green part is your step 2. Got it?
Oh, okay.
So back to here. Let me move this whole thing a bit to the left, okay? Yeah, okay, so how do I write out the step 3?
Uh,
Minus
minus 1.5
Square.
squared,
Yeah.
and then in brackets -2.
Yeah. Okay. Times it by -2. Okay. So that's your step 3. And don't forget at the end, you need to subtract a 7 because the -7 you ignore at the beginning, right? So you need to subtract 7. Okay, so that should be your step 1, 2, 3. And then now let's go back to here. Okay, once you finish those steps, then it's time to write out your APQ. Okay, APQ form. So it'll be -1. Okay, and you put a square on the I. Okay, and then you grab the first term, put it here. Okay, grab the second, the last one, and put it at the end. 0/2 is just 0, right? So you could put 0. Okay, you don't need to put a square on them, all right? And then if this one is a plus, then you put a plus. If it's a minus, you put a minus, okay? And then whatever that's outside the brackets, let me highlight that, right? This part, these are all outside the brackets, right? So we'll combine all of them together and then put it at the end. So 0/2 is 0, right? Square, and then times -1 is going to be 0. So at the end, it's just +4. So this is your APQ form. Okay. The reason why it works like that, you need to check your grade 11 notes. Okay, I'm just giving you a quick review. Okay, how this should be done. Okay, so can you raise your hand once you get to this point? And then I would like you to do the same thing for the one you were trying, okay? So please write out the APQ form for the one you were doing, okay? Does anyone have questions so far, like how to write out APQ? Okay, so once you've done the APQ, you can raise your hand again. Remember the outside the bracket, this part. Oops. Right, this part with the yellow highlighted, you can use a calculator, okay, to figure out the number. Okay, Caleb, what's your APQ form? Oh yeah, I forgot your mic doesn't work. How many? Caleb? What's the first number? You can type it out, okay, Caleb. Are you there? What's going on, Caleb? Are you there? Or your keyboard not working either? Okay, I'll get back to you, okay? Maybe I'll call you later. Lady, what's your APQ form?
I got y equals -2 bracket x plus 1.5 bracket squared
Mhm.
minus 5/2.
Minus 5/2. Okay, let me see. 2.25, so that's 4.5. 4.5. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, any other mistakes? Can anyone see any mistake here? Angela? Do you have exactly the same?
I'm not sure, but I got -11.25 instead of 5/2.
Okay, negative 11.25.
0.25.
Okay, any other thing that's different?
I got 11.5, but that might be because I used my phone calculator.
11.5. Okay. Any other mistakes? I mean, anything else that's different aside from the yellow highlighted part? How about you, Susan? What do you have? Do you have the same?
Yes, mine is the same.
Exactly the same. Okay.
Yeah, but it's in fraction form.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, Chris Yan just said the 1.5 should be negative. Okay. Did you guys see that? Remember I said this part, if this part is minus, then that will change this to minus. Okay, this is very important. And then now let's figure out the outside. Okay, see which number should be the answer. 1.5 squared, that should be 2.25, right? 2.25 times it by 2, right? That will be 4.5. Because negative times negative will make it positive, right? Negative 1.25 squared times -2 will be positive. So 4.5 minus 7, the same as 7 minus 4.5, right? So that should be 2.5, right? 2.5. Yeah, so I think the reason why you guys got 11 something, okay, is because of the sign, okay? This green negative on the outside, and then that won't go away, okay? So that will make them multiply together, make it positive, and then subtract 7, okay? So it should be negative 2.5, okay? Or 5/2. So that's our APQ. So what's the point of getting APQ? Right? We spent so much time reviewing this. It's for us to get the vertex, okay? So the vertex is at PQ, okay? This is the P. This is the Q. Okay, if you compare with the form on the top, okay, P is always after the minus sign, okay? Q is whatever that's outside behind the square, okay? So that tells us our vertex is at 1.5 and negative 2.5, right? 5/2, 2.5. Any questions? Okay, so go back to the question now. Okay, so finally we can look at our questions. Where is our vertex? Okay, can you write out your vertex and raise your hand? So when we have a chance, okay, I'm gonna give you another practice, okay, how to get APQ. This is very, very important, okay, useful whenever you see quadratic function. Okay, please write down your vertex and raise your hand. All right, so Nick, where's the vertex?
Is it negative 2.5?
Okay, where did you get that from? We're looking at the question, this one.
Oh, 4.
For X or Y?
Sorry,
What's the P?
P.
Yeah, P and Q, right? PQ is our vertex.
P is negative X.
P is whatever that's after
Wait,
the
0. 0.
That's right. Okay, what's the Q?
4.
Yeah, okay, 0, 4 vertex. Okay. Yeah, so back to here, right? The example you were trying, right? The P is 1.5 because that's after the X. And it has to be after the minus. Okay, Q is outside the brackets, so negative 5/2. Okay, that's the Q. Vertex. All right, so we got our vertex. All right. Now I have another question for you. Okay, we spent so much time getting the APQ form, but for this question, compared to the one you were trying, okay, the difference is that the question only has 2 terms. Right, I'm talking about the beginning, okay, 2 terms. It doesn't have the X term, right? It only has the X squared. It only has the constant, okay, the number. Doesn't have the middle term. So when that happens, it's actually already in the vertex form. Okay, I'm just showing the steps to give you a practice, okay, how to change it. Because if you compare the form, because there's no second term, right? Because in general form, the middle term is 0x, right? So B is 0. So that right away tells you the P should be 0, okay? And remember the Q is always the last term outside the bracket, so Q will be this one. So for this question, right? For this specific question, the A is already there. APQ, you can tell already. You don't need to do the 3 steps. Okay, so remember for this one, only for 2 terms, the one that's missing the X, okay, then you can do that. But if you have all the 3 terms, okay, if you have all the 3 terms like the one you were trying here, this one has 3 terms. Okay, then you will need to do step 1, 2, 3, okay, to get the vertex. Okay, so I think later we have another chance, okay, to ask you about this, okay? So just remember 2 terms, you can get the vertex directly. You don't need to do 3 steps. Now we got the 3 vertex, we can do the graph now, right? So f of x has a vertex at 0, 4. Is this one open up or open down? Sophie? Is this parabola open up or open down? No, open up, how do you tell? What controls open up or open down? You can turn your mic on. Positive or negative, okay. Which part? Do you look at the A, P, or Q? Does your mic work? Okay. How about you? The Q. Okay. PQ. PQ is for the vertex. Okay. So Chris, what controls open up or down?
If the thing with the square is negative,
The thing with the square negative. Which part?
in the function,
Okay. The thing with the square, you mean the first term?
yes,
Like the negative x squared?
yes.
I see. Okay. Yeah, you are right. Okay. So in fact, we look at the first number. Okay. We call that the coefficient of the x squared. Okay. Or you look at the A. Okay. Your step one. If that number is negative, it'll open down. Okay. So in fact, this one is opening down. If it's positive, it'll be open up. Okay. So we'll start with a vertex. Vertex will, because it opened down, right? Open down looks like that. So you have a highest point. We call that vertex. That point, we'll put it in the middle. Okay. So you have 0, 4 in the middle of the table. And then you just graph everything on the left side and pick 2 points on the left side, pick 2 points on the right side. So we'll look at the x, okay? On the left side of x, 0, right? On the left side of 0 will be -1 and then -2, okay? On the right side will be 1 and 2. Okay, so that's how you set up the table for a parabola or quadratic function, okay? So you got the middle point, okay? This one is the vertex. Let's put a V, okay, instead of star, V. Okay, V for vertex. And then to get the rest of the y value, you just plug it into the function, okay? Because our function is -x squared, right? So for example, -2, if you plug it in, okay, what do you get as your output? Okay, Evan, can you tell us what's the first y value when -2 goes in?
Just wait. Is it 8?
8? Can you tell me
Yes.
how?
Don't you plug the -2 into the -x squared? I mean, yeah, -x squared and then +4.
So it should look like this, right? Negative bracket -2 squared, right?
Yeah,
+4, right?
yeah. Oh, and it's 0 then.
Yes, okay. So the negative on the very outside doesn't disappear, okay? Only the thing in the bracket when you square will disappear. So this one give you 0. Okay, so please complete the table and raise your hand, okay? So everyone finish the table and raise your hand. Okay, Angela, what's your y for -1?
I got 3.
Okay.
Wait, do you want the rest?
It's okay. Yeah, just do that one. Thank you. Yeah, Susan, that's okay. Okay, and Jenny, what's the y for 1?
I got 3 as well.
Yeah, okay. And then for 2, Marcus, can you find that one? The y for 2.
Uh, wouldn't it be 8?
How'd you get that?
Wouldn't it be -2 squared plus 4?
Yeah, you have to follow the order of operations, right?
Wouldn't -2 times, oh, it's just, oh. Wouldn't it be 0 then?
Yes, okay, because the square only affects your x, okay? It
Okay.
doesn't include the negative, there's no bracket around negative. So this one will be 0, okay? So you can see from the table, right? 0, 4 is the middle, and then it's symmetrical. You have 0, 3, the other side 3, 0, okay? You should have a symmetrical point for both sides, okay, of vertex. Let's graph it out and see what it looks like. So we'll start with the vertex, okay? We have 0, 4, should be up here. And then let's graph the left side, -1, 3, should be here. -2, 0, be here. The other side is symmetrical, so 1 will be 3, 2 will be 0. It'll be going downwards, right? As we expected, right? Opens down. This is called open down. You have learned it or sing it in grade 11, right? Okay, so please raise your hand again once you finish this graph. Yeah, someone's crying happy tears.
Wait, how do I remove that? I accidentally pressed that.
Oh, that's okay. You can leave it on. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, how do you do that? Okay, please raise your hand if you finish the graph. Eric, Jocelyn, and Marcus. Okay, I hope the going over, like reviewing these is worth it. Okay, you have to remember how to do that later. Okay, we'll try again with a different function, getting APQ, right? So the point of this, like the main thing, we haven't got to the main thing yet, right? We only review how to graph the original. But the question wants us to find the inverse of this red one, okay? We use the red color, okay? Now, so let's get the inverse function now. Let's go to the right side. Okay, I hope you still have space. So to find the inverse, follow the 3 steps, right? Step 1, write it as y equals, right? Write the f of x as y. Okay. And then step 2, switch x and y. Step 3, isolate y. Okay, so I'll let you carry that out, 3 steps. Okay, once you finish that, please raise your hand again. And then we're gonna use the green color, okay, to draw the graph. Okay, so step 2, switch x and y, I can do that, right? I can do that for you. X equals to -y squared plus 4. Okay, so this is already the inverse The moment that you switch them, it's the inverse. But you can't leave it like that, right? You want to isolate the y. So it's easier to put the input. Okay, please raise your hand once you finish isolating. So isolate the y on one side. Okay, so let's see your steps, okay? Well, let's get your final answer first, okay? I want to see what's your final look for the inverse. Okay, Philip, what do you have for your inverse function?
Negative root x plus 2 equals y.
Plus 2 equals like that?
No. Only x is under the root. Wait, no.
Hmm?
Yeah, only x is under the root.
Oh, only x under the root. Okay, I'll rewrite it.
Wait.
Negative root x plus 2, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have anything different, look different? CZ, Claire Z.
I got y equals negative root x minus 4.
Outside or inside the root, the minus 4?
Inside.
Inside, okay. Okay, any other answers?
Jason,
Yes, Daniel?
I got root negative x plus 4.
Negative x plus 4, okay. All right, so looks like we need to go over step by step, right? Yeah, Eric?
Oh, I got root of negative x and then plus 2.
Outside plus 2, like that? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyone else want to contribute? So far we got 4 different ones, right? All the different combinations of negative and the 2 and the 4. Okay, first let's clear something up, okay? This thing, okay, I'll just put it underneath, okay? I think that the reason why some of you got plus 2, some of you have plus 4 is because you think that, let's say if I have 4 plus 9, right, under the square root, will that equal to square root of 4 plus square root of 9? Okay, let's take a vote. Okay, let me lower your hand. So were they equal? If yes, can you raise your hand? No. Okay, so Susan, yeah. Okay, anyone else think yes? Yeah. Okay, the easiest way to see if it works, okay, so what happened is I split the square roots, right? Okay, so let's say we continue, right? Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 3 is 9. Sorry, square root of 9 is 3, right? So that gives you a 5. So the answer should be 5 if you split it. If you don't split, it will be square root of 13, because 9 plus 4 is 13. You don't split, it's square root 13. If you split, it'll be 5. So they are not the same. Right? If they are the same, then it doesn't matter if you split or not, you should get the same answer. Okay? So be careful on this one, right? When you have something inside the square root, if they're adding, or subtracting, you cannot split. You can only split if they are either multiply or divide. Okay, so if you try the same thing again, right? Let's say we try with multiplying. So some of these little things, okay, is gonna affect your results, right? Because if you get these concepts forgot, right? Forgot these things. So here you have 2 times 3, right? If you split, you get 6. If you don't split, you get square root of 36, right? 9 times 4 is 36. Square root of 36, right? Does that equal to 6? It does, right? They equal each other. Okay, but then the other one, they don't. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so let's go over step by step, okay, to see which answer will work. Does anyone else want to add in your answer to the inverse? Okay, Angela, what do you have for your inverse?
I got root x minus 4 over -1 equals y.
So -1 is inside the square root as well?
No.
Oh, outside, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'll keep it there, okay? We'll see. Well, this one actually is the same as the second one, the second answer. Okay, because -1 at the denominator, you can put it on the outside. Okay, same thing. Okay, so let's go over step by step. We want to isolate the y, right? So y is here. So first thing you need to do is move the 4 over to the left side, okay? So be x minus 4 equal to -y squared. Okay, and then the next thing you want to get rid of is not a square. So I think the difference is which one to get rid of first, right? Do we get rid of the negative first, or do we square root, right? To get rid of square first, right? At least all of you are thinking about square root. That's a good thing, right? So when you isolate, because the -1, the negative is not attached to the y. Okay, if you have something like this, if you have a bracket like that, then you will get rid of the square first. The square is on the outside. You start from outside inwards. Okay, so because it doesn't have the bracket, you need to get rid of the negative. Just like you get rid of the 4, right? You move the 4 to the left side because 4 is on the outside, right? Not attached to the y. So you start from something that's not attached to the y first. So you would divide both sides by negative, or you can multiply both sides by negative. Okay, either way, give you the same thing. You get y squared, and then -x plus 4. Okay, what I did is I multiply both sides by negative. All right, and then last step is to get rid of the square, right? And you guys all did the right thing, right? To use square roots. And we have that. Okay, however, let me erase your answers. So far, I think the closest will be this one, right? This one right here, closest. Oh, I mean the same, right? The one that's the same. Very good. Okay, so let me erase that first. However, it's not 100%. Can anybody tell us, like point out what are we missing? Yes, Susan?
The restrictions.
Yeah, we'll need as restrictions, but other than that, what else is missing in the inverse? Yes, Claire? Yeah.
The f negative, like the f -1x. I don't know how to say it.
The negative x.
Like the f, the sign.
Oh, the inverse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's okay, but it's not what I'm looking for yet. Okay, yeah, you can write it out like that. Very good. Okay. Yeah, even better. Very good. What else? Susan? Or anyone else can, Nick? Yeah.
Should you write it as 4 minus x?
Yeah, it's the same. Okay, but still, that's also not something I'm looking for. Okay, so it's okay. Very good. Yeah, Daniel, you want to add in? Yes.
Do you write it as plus or minus square root minus x
very
plus
good.
4?
Very good, very good. Okay, plus minus. Where did you say we need to put plus minus, Daniel?
Before the square root.
Very good. Okay, do you know why we need plus minus though?
Because it can't be like negative, I think.
Okay, so I give you an example to think about why it should be positive or negative. Okay, as you look at this step, right? Something square, right? So let's say we have a bracket equal to okay, let me write it this way. Okay, I'll just give you an example. Let's say we have 9 equal to bracket squared. That bracket is like the y, right? We used to have a y squared equal to 9. So to find the y, we need to square root both sides, right? So square root of 9, and you get our y. Okay, then you get y equal to 3. Okay, but if you look at the original question, if I put the 3, the answer that you got, right? Put 3 in, 3 squared equal 9. So 3 works. Okay, but if I put the -3 and square it, it will also work, right? -3 times -3 will also be 9. So your answer should also include a -3. Okay, so you will have -3 as y as well. So both of the answer will work. So if you need to square root the both sides, right? Square root both sides. The moment that you put a square root on, you need a plus minus sign. Okay, so like over back to the question here, you need to put plus minus. Okay, so this is a, yeah, if you are the one writing the square root out, okay, then you need plus minus. But if the question already has square root, you do not need to add your own plus minus. Okay, like this blue part will just equal to 4. Sorry, equal to 2. Okay, you don't need to write plus minus 2, just equal to 2, because the question already has square root. Okay, so we got our function here. All right, so let's, now we need to graph. Okay, we'll finish the graph and then we'll have a break. Okay, so if I know the original graph, how do we get the inverse graph quickly? Eric, how do we do that? We're gonna use green. Okay, yeah, Eric, how do we graph the inverse?
I guess we plot it out and then like, I mean, we finish the table and then plot it out.
Yeah, but how do we get the table quickly?
You just flip everything.
Yes, very good. Okay, so everything on the original, you just flip it around, switch X and Y. Okay, so it used to be the vertex 0, 4. Now the new vertex will be 4, 0. Okay, it's still the vertex, but you need to flip it. Okay, every point you need to flip. Right, so I'll let you complete the rest. Okay, and finish the graph. You can raise your hand when you finish the table and the graph. So we have our f of x is negative x squared plus 4. And then we found our inverse is plus minus, don't forget plus minus. Okay, so table should be 0, -2. Right, 3, -1. Please raise your hand if you finish the graph. 3, 1, 0, 2. Okay, so 4, 0 will be right here. Right, and then 3, -1. 0, -2. Right. So this time it's opening instead of opening down. Which way is it opening, Jenny?
It's opening to the left.
Yes, very good. Okay, so open left. You can write it on the top, right? Open left, open down for the original. Okay, Chris, Eric, Justin, and Marcus, are you guys done the graphs? Okay, and then we're gonna need to write. So now we finished the graphing both graphs. Okay, let's get their domain and range. Right. So for the red, that's the original, right? Please write the domain and range. Domain is the x values, range is the y values. Okay, so finish the table as well. Okay, so once you finish the table, please raise your hand. And as usual, right, for inverse, if you get the domain and range for original, you could use it to get the domain range of inverse, right? Now flip it around. And you can double check with your answer and the graph, see if they match, right? Okay, let's check the domain first. Domain for the red. Okay, Philip, what's the domain for origin?
Original, all real numbers.
All real number, very good. Okay, so X real number, right? Because the red graph, it keeps on going to the left side, right? Opens wider and wider. There's no gap, okay? And then for the range, Daniel,
I got y is smaller or equal to 4.
yep, okay, starting from 4, highest point, and then goes down. But to the left, to the right, there's no stopping, okay? For the up and down, it has the highest point. So once you got these two figured out, the inverse will be easy, right? So Evan, how do you write the domain and range for inverse?
The first one is x is greater or equal to 4. I mean, sorry, smaller or equal to 4.
X is smaller or equal to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, what about range?
Then this is y is all real numbers then.
Very good. Okay, so if you look at the picture, right? The green graph, it starts from 4 and then going towards to the left. Okay, so it's telling you the X can only be less than or equal to 4. And up and down, it goes up higher and higher, goes down lower and lower. Okay, so you get real number. This y less than or equal to 4 is the same as the restrictions for the inverse. Okay, so you can figure that out from looking at the inside of the square root. If you plug in anything bigger than 4, let's say you plug in 5, then you get -5 plus 4. And you cannot square root a negative number, right? -5 plus 4 is -1. So that won't work, okay? So the domain is like the restrictions of your functions. Okay, how's the rest of you guys? Are you guys done? Please raise your hand if you finish this part. Okay, Eric, Evan, Jocelyn, and Marcus. So we'll have a break first, okay? If you have any question about anything so far, okay, you can ask me during the break. And I'll see you guys at, let's have, 15 minutes break, okay? So I'll see you at 11:15, okay?